Hey everyone, it's Anne here, and I wanted to, first off, I wanted to go live, and then I realized I couldn't actually go live the other night when we were planning the IF meeting. And so this is kind of a summary of what the IF Network board meeting came to a conclusion almost. So I kind of want to touch base with everyone and hop on here because with the IF Network, I really want it to be raw and really want it to be transparent as possible because I want not only the parentpreneurs that we help, but I also want the systems and the programs that we are utilizing and are reaching out to actually see the behind the scenes and actually get to feel the emotions and what it means to start a business, to start a startup, and the process that goes along with it. And I was speaking with someone, a really close friend, and we were talking about it. And this is something that is beyondly close to my heart. It is something that is influential, and I think that it doesn't get spoken enough about. Too often we see the end result. Too often we see what it's like that it's pretty much just like, oh, it happens overnight type thing, where it just instantly has this instant gratification to it. And with social media now especially, I think that it gets put down, and the starting stage doesn't get talked about and doesn't get seen. Like, there's so much behind the scenes that most people don't realize. And whenever I'm watching any of these podcasts or any of these interviews, as well as when I'm speaking to other entrepreneurs, they talk about the struggle phase. And if you notice, many people struggle getting past the struggle phase and struggle to find that validation, and they want to move past it, but they can't, or they get deterred, or if they're really committed, they will get past it, and they will focus so much time on speaking about what it took to get where they are. So this is kind of almost working like an opposite. Like, I want you guys to witness the whole birth, essentially. I want you guys to see all the nitty and gritty, to seeing what it actually takes, and the fact that if you get deterred or you get bummed out, or if you get kind of deterred and sad and heartbroken over it, it's normal. Like, this is normal. And this is actually kind of a synopsis of a text that I sent to my friend, because she asked how it was and how the turnout and how I was feeling about it was. And essentially, I even asked her about going live with this, and she thinks it's a great idea, as well as so many other people that I've mentioned with this. So here it is. I'm going to dive in, and you get the story live in real time. Like I said, the IF Network's board meeting was on the 10th, which was yesterday, last night. And so this is kind of my feelings and my roller coaster of emotions that I've gone through with it. So yeah, I was expecting around 6 people to show up, but most had things come up, which is typical. I was a little bummed at first, of course, sad emoji face. But then I reminded myself that this is still an incredible idea. It is not limited to Monroe, though. And honestly, I've been looking for validation from the people in my hometown the most. But I gave it to myself today, that if we're not aligned, that's okay too. What really helped was that one person who did show up. Technically, there was 2 people who showed up to help remind me of this. And Asia, you're one of them, and then my good friend John did show up online, who helped me put together a business plan and is actively reminding me that I can do this. I have been thinking maybe I should go live and talk about this feeling, how isolating and emotional it can be to start a business or a project, especially when you are doing something new or different. The ups, the downs, the self-doubt, and the unexpected support. And I really think this will resonate with you. Because if you're starting a business, or you have started a business, I know that I'm not alone in this feeling. And I know that you aren't alone in this feeling. You're questioning every move that you make. You second guess everything. You kind of try to predict, and you're trying to play the game of chess while with a checkerboard and pieces. Uh, it feels almost frustrating that you're trying to create something or do some type of good, and you're searching so hard to be a presence where people can show up and to actually help and give back. But in order to reach the point where every big business is at some point, you have to go through these small, difficult steps. You have to wade through the waters. You have to puddle through all of the crap and recognize that you're building something that you believe in and that you truly can resonate and help others. Uh, Being someone who has worked and volunteered around the community multiple times, I've recognized that the biggest struggle is getting people to show up. At the same time, everyone is dealing with that. The people you see that you don't think struggle are probably the ones who struggle the most. The ones who have difficult choices to make, that are afraid that if they do something, it might close the doors on them some other place. Or the ones who are coming to support, but don't know how they can support fully. I think that when it comes to at least me, from my point of view, when I go to show up, and I go to show up to help out others, I do it with the intent to serve and to assist others first. I truly lead with thinking that, like, what can I do for others? And I think that If Network is immensely needed. And it's to the point where I'm realizing, and I kind of had this epiphany when I was like talking with my kids and my family and the two people at the board meeting, and I recognized, and of course the idea came from my children, just to start showing up where you guys are. Like, I intend to this weekend, I'm going to sit down and outline all the parks that I'm going to go to and all the places I'm going to go to, and I'm just going to start showing up for you guys. I am going to start holding your hand through the camera without knowing who's on the other side. I am already going through the process of getting in touch with Launch 734 and showing you guys that process too. I am going to resend an email today, hopefully getting an appointment. It's had to be rescheduled a few times now for a few different reasons, and I'm remaining hopeful, and I want you to do the same. I don't want you to take anything as a setback. I want you to take it as an opportunity, that there is something that is misaligned in the life or in the process, and you need to get there, and you will get there. And it may feel devastating. And I'm kind of relating this back, of course, because everything I do is built around, of course, obviously mindset and coaching. And even when I work with all these other people in the mental health field and all this, it usually stems back to pivotal moments in either your early childhood or your early development. And I can recognize this and I can see this because not only have I gone through it, I've seen my children really haven't gone through it. They've been pretty blessed for it. But I've also recognized other people and other parents and other kids go through this because they have spoken about it. Imagine like you owning and running an event as like a birthday party. And you're planning and you're so excited and you're pumped, but most of the time it feels like you are not only the new kid at the school, but your birthday party is right at the very beginning of school, so you haven't got the chance to actually form any bonds and know anyone to actually show up. Or you have been at school for so long and you're that student who doesn't really quite fit in. You might have a few friends here and there, but no one really shows up. And so you're waiting at this party. And full realness right now with you guys. That's what some of these meetings have felt like. Of course, I am eternally grateful for all the support and the people who do show up and have shown up in the past. But that's what it feels like. And if you resonate with this, comment below. Just make your mark on it, because I get that you probably feel that way too. And this isn't just limited to, like events or anything like that. It's related to business in general. And that's how definitely school and business are a lot alike. Because it's all kind of almost seemingly about a popularity contest. And for those of you who have been on the other side, get that it's always hard. And even those who were popular or are popular and have that stuff, it almost feels like you have to keep up with it, and like you're second guessing yourself constantly, as opposed to just being authentically you and authentically what your purpose is. Being too scared to say something or to do something or to post something because you're afraid of how someone's going to react. Or if you say something, you're not going to end up getting the support that you want, and it might close doors that you don't want closed. But I think the reality of this is that the people who are meant to see it and the people who are aligned with you and your mission will resonate with them. It won't be deterred from those things. It would inspire them to go forward. And so that's why I definitely wanted to hop on here and be real with you guys and recognize that the IF Network isn't just about helping parentpreneurs in business, but it's really about finding balance in life, with your kids, with business, and with yourself. I truly believe that if you are aligned with your mental state and your feelings and your emotions, everything else will follow. Your business will succeed. Your life will be guided to the direction where you really want it to go. Admittedly, I never saw myself staying in Monroe for a long time. And even now, when I'm starting this, I do not intend to stay for a long time, but I intend to build something that will resonate and stay and build with Monroe for a long time. I do believe that, yes, this is a beautiful community and that there is so much love and support that is here. And you know what? It's okay if it does not align with my mission. And it's okay if it does not align with what I view and I hope to see for the community. But I really do wish it would. Not necessarily for myself, but for those who are like me and those who are struggling right now. And if you are struggling, I'm talking to the micro entrepreneurs, the micro parentpreneurs right now who are juggling work and business and trying to start something new, or wanting to try to escape the 9-to-5 because they want more time with their kids, or the parent who loves their job but are struggling at home because they don't feel like they get enough time with their kids. I want to show you that it is possible. It is all about finding that alignment inside yourself. So many people talk about the mental health crisis and they come up with a million different programs and solutions, and they're fighting about the problem and restating the problem over and over and over again. The solution is in all of us, and the solution is to be ourselves authentically. And I can proudly say that I have always just been myself. And does it get me the place that I want to go? Currently, not exactly where I want or envision myself to be, but it's totally where I need to be. And I don't have to pivot. I don't have to try to force myself into a square or into a community that doesn't want or need me. But I can be that voice for the people who feel like they can't have that voice, or they don't feel seen, or they don't feel heard. That's why I do my best to, anytime anyone shares anything related to the community or to their small businesses, I instantly share it. I instantly bring it up. If I hear someone asking about a photographer, I recommend the people that I know closest to me and that I think would align with them greatly. I make it my mission that it's okay to be a community connector. That community doesn't mean competition. It doesn't mean that we have to compete against each other. While yes, there is healthy competition, but that's not a necessity. So in the coming, I'd say, few weeks, I will not only be launching the website, but I will also be launching little videos here and there. I have a YouTube already made up, and once we reach, I think it's like 1,000 followers or something like that on Facebook, we will be able to go live, and I will be able to do live coaching as well as getting other people's assistance as well. And I am talking about these other programs, which I'm going to reach out to. And if you are watching this and you run a program, or if you run another nonprofit, I would love just to sit down and talk with you. And I want to do things a little bit different than everyone else. I'm not talking a podcast room. I'm not talking about an interview where we have to sit down and it has to be quiet and it has to be somewhere specific. I am going to have 2 mics, maybe more, but 2 simple mics, and I am just going to bring my phone and I'm going to come to you. We're going to be at parks, we're going to be at local facilities, and I really want you guys to get a glimpse of what Monroe County really is. Not in the news, not in the highlight reel of someone who's trying to make it seem like it's better. I want it to be real and authentic, including the struggles that you go through, including the issues that come up, and also the wins. I'm talking the small wins. I'm talking about to the mothers that is watching this that is breaking down because she can't afford to pay bills, or the mother or father who's breaking down because they can't see their kids because they have to work another 12-hour shift, or to the entrepreneur that is out there who is starting their 3rd business because they still can't seem to get any traction or any funding for what they want to do. I want it to be real and authentic and show you guys that you don't have to focus on the money. You don't have to chase the chicken. You just have to focus on you and what your passions are. And when you are focused on your passions, the right people will align with you no matter what. And it may get controversial, no lie, but at least you know when you're watching it, it's going to be real. It's going to be in the real time, and it's going to be authentic and with heart. One of our big things that we kind of covered at the board meeting was that myself and one of the other board members, one of our first things that we want to do is a fundraising campaign to actually get the funding to become a 503c, like formatted nonprofit, is to fundraise for Hearts of Hope. So HOPE stands for Hearts Opened, People Empowered. Essentially saying that we're here, we're ready to listen, we're ready to expand, and it's hope. Like we're hopeful for the future. We're hopeful for what Monroe County can be, as well as any other communities. I did have a few talks with a few people who were outside of Monroe County, and I will be honest, a lot of them said that this is a fabulous idea, and it might just be an idea that functions better for a community that's more ready for it. And I was taken back by that, and I will be real, it stung, because even though Monroe Community is a smaller community and a smaller county. I do think we have a lot of heart and we have a lot of drive to get there. I do feel that we are insanely disconnected from all of us, whether it be council people to Main Street business owners. We are so disconnected from each other and so committed to seeing each other as competition that it's almost disheartening to recognize the fact that something so beautiful as a nonprofit that is literally out there to connect all the nonprofits together and to build a bridge to reach the underserved is struggling so much to even just get feet off the ground. But I also realize that it might not be aligned, and that's okay. I do have interests from a few different counties for this, one of which being Ann Arbor, where we are intending to focus on bringing more self-sustainable and eco-friendly and more future-driven ideas to Monroe County. If it doesn't work here, then there are possibilities for other places. Just like I said, all this is just about being real and being really authentic. And I want you guys to understand that this is a passion that not only for me, but for my children's future, for your children's future, for your future. I see you. I hear you guys. And I want you to recognize that even though you feel invisible, you feel like you are struggling to get traction, you are struggling to get your voice heard, it just takes one person. And don't compromise your personal beliefs, your goals, or your ambition just so you can fit in a box so you get liked. Let the school bullies stay in the past, and let the recognition that we're all just people and we're all just doing our best out there to grow and to build and to improve. There is enough of us in this community that even if we don't fit in one area, that it doesn't mean that we're exiled. It doesn't mean that it's not working. It doesn't mean that we should give up. It just means that we haven't found our right people yet. And my son and, well, both the kids, older two, came home and they talked so much about this assembly they had at their school for basketball, Jones, which, if you haven't heard of him, definitely look him up. He's a great motivational speaker for younger kids. But he also talked about the power of yet. And me as a personal mindset coach, I also speak about that pretty heavily, and about how you're wording it in your head. And I see this with not only the people I coach, but also with the people around town when I'm just observing, when I'm in these meetings, when I'm in just sitting down with people around town. Like, I recognize, and I've come to see that this is kind of my superpower, because as a mom, I also try to translate things into easily digestible, like, ways of thinking. So as simple as my 5-year-old can understand. So everyone has a superpower. Everyone has a gift. And if you are any Disney fan, if you think of the movie Encanto, how each and every single one of them have a gift. Every one of them have the ability of strength, the ability to hear things a mile away, the ability to shapeshift, to comfort people, to heal people with their food, which so many of these characters I see represented amongst our community. And sorry, of course, this is emotional because it's a really, really touching thing. And I've also noticed with the narrative, with the parents, when it pertains to these superpowers, that younger child in you, and if you're a parent, you get this. My kids constantly fight over which character they're pretending to be when they're role playing or they're playing, and I see it with the kids inside the adults and the parents. I see their struggle. I see their emotional like issues and their vibrations and how it translates to them in their working area as well as being a parent. Those superpowers that you have, yes, it may not be as obvious as like super strength, but it can be something as simple as Maribel's, which, if you have seen the movie, it essentially goes throughout following her, and this is the one girl out of the entire family of magical beings almost that did not receive a gift. But at the end, it's kind of clear that she was the gift, that her ability to not be special is what led her to recognize the struggle with the people who had the abilities, who had the gifts. She started to see the void, the weak straw, the straw that broke the camel's back. And of course, throughout this movie, they travel amongst like all of the members because she doesn't understand. At the night of when her youngest cousin got his gift and they were all celebrating, she had that moment of feeling alone. And that moment came when the family decided to take a photo. And the grandmother was like, oh yeah, let's all get a photo. And everyone was included except Maribel. And I think so many parentpreneurs and so many parents and so many even children feel that way. They feel left out. They feel not seen and not heard and not valued just because they're not something miraculous. They're not something incredible. But what we fail to see is that is the miracle. That is the gift. That is the ability that no matter what, you are special. And as they follow along, had she been in that photo and included, may it not have like resulted in the magic being at risk and the house falling apart. But fast forward, the house is in danger, the magic is in danger, and they can't understand why. But all the people with the gifts are too busy trying to focus on what their gifts are and focusing on what they are doing instead of finding the solution to why the magic's going away anyways. And so Maribel decides to take it upon herself to save the miracle. And it leads to Bruno, who is the exiled family member who got to see the future and who understood what was going on, and he decided to leave. And he didn't leave because of like his gift. He left because he felt misunderstood. He left because no matter what he said, even though it was the truth, they associated negativity with him. And so he just disappeared. But he didn't fully disappear. He was still there. He was still around. He was behind the scenes. He was there observing all this information and recognizing like what was going on. But behind the scenes, he's in the back patching everything. And it wasn't until that Maribel and her abuela, her grandmother, had the confrontation and recognized the fact that her grandmother's standards and her way of thinking and her fundamentals of like, okay, well, this is what we have to behave and this is how we have to do it and this is the only way, was actually what was destroying the magic and destroying the gift. Because the magic and the gift and the miracle is built around love and acceptance and protection. So, and if you've seen this, I'm kind of going way too into deep for the superpower aspect of what I'm trying to explain. But if you haven't, this kind of sums it up. But highly recommend it. Encanto has so many lessons in it. So she goes through this process and she speaks to all these people in her family, and she starts to put together a lot of different little puzzle pieces about how her oldest sister, the one who is, obviously super strong, Louisa, and I have my older sister, she relates to this character, as well as my husband's older brother relates to this character. about how being the oldest puts too much pressure on you, and that you're expected to suck everything up and just take it and to run through everything. And she ends up getting weak because she's not prioritizing every bit of her. She's not in alignment with herself. She's not taking self-care. She's not taking time for herself. And then it goes to her second oldest sibling, one that is engaged and everyone thinks is so perfect and so like amazing, but doesn't recognize that she's also being chained to that perfection, that she is not free to have the creativity and express herself in the way that she wants, and how all these things kind of limit everyone. And then poor Dolores, which I feel like she kind of had the brunt end of everything. And when they're going through this, We Don't Talk About Bruno's song, they talk about all the different people's gifts and how Bruno kind of was trying to help them, but they didn't know how to accept his help. How he was just trying to help his sister, go through the wedding and recognize that it's okay to feel your emotions, whether they're good, they're bad, they're beautiful. Like, she changes the weather based on her emotions, and she's constantly, like, you see her constantly throughout the movies about how, like, she's like clear skies, clear skies, clear skies, like constantly trying to have this idea of perfection and sunny, when reality is you can dance in the rain. And Bruno dives into that, and that's kind of at the end, he'll tie that all in together. And then Dolores, the one who hears everything, she hears things a mile away. Bruno told her that the guy that she was meant to be with, or her dream guy, is actually engaged to someone else, which ends up being her cousin. And her cousin doesn't want to marry the guy, but she's doing it out of obligation to the family. And so Dolores is kind of put out, but she remains quiet. As much as she hears everything, she remains quiet and she feels unseen, because even though she hears everything and she sees everything, no one's really seeing her. And then it goes further into all these other people's gifts, and Maribel starts to put it together, and she recognizes that her grandmother was the person in power who wasn't recognizing and hearing the voices of the many, whether it be the people who have no gifts or the people who do have gifts that are still being unheard. It is such a great demonstration of mental health in the community, and recognizing the fact that at the end of it all, when everyone blows up, Maribel literally connects all the pieces. And this is what makes me love this movie and recognize the fact that this is what I teach the kids as well, is that during the end of the movie, they recognize it, and it gets so emotional. And like, I've seen this movie many, many times, and my kids have seen it many times, and we still all tear up at certain points. As they're going through this, the house has been completely destroyed. Their family is a wreck. But the song, All of You, is about the fact of not only all of the who you are is your superpower. The fact that Maribel gets seen by her entire family. The fact that her grandmother apologizes because she was holding on so tightly because she was so afraid of change and so afraid of loss that she let that prevent any more growth happen in her life and her family and in the community. And she comes to terms with that, and she has that self-realization. And when she does, Bruno reappears and starts to defend Maribel, even though they had already smoothed everything over. And so they were able to get over their issues. And then we're in the process, and they're building, they're singing this beautiful song, and they're talking about how Maribel is the gift, and that her ability to see everyone's gifts, and more than just their gifts, like see them for who they are, really changed their life. And so they're all in the process of going through it, and they see it, and they recognize it, and they recognize what they are and who they are. And then the town people, they all come together. Like, you hear the townspeople start singing as well. And they all come to help, recognizing the fact that it wasn't just on the people. The magic wasn't just built for the people with the magical powers. It was built for the community. It was built for the people that help make it a community. So they all work together and rebuild casita, which is their house, and they rebuild it. And at the end, Maribel ends up getting a new doorknob, which is kind of ties everything all together. But the superpowers all tie in together. The fact that Maribel sets up with the other guy because he had so much love inside, right? And he wanted someone that shared that love with. And then of course Dolores pops up because she heard it, and he's exactly what she needed and exactly what he needed as well. And the point where Dolores says, I hear you, and the fact that he says, I see you, kind of ties it all in together. And the fact that that's something I say on a daily for people who are struggling or people who are seeking guidance. Like, you're not alone. Like, you may feel like you are struggling in Maribel. You may feel like you don't have a power, or you may feel like you have too much power and your pressure is put on you to perform or act a certain way, but you're still like a person. You still have a gift whether or not you have that power, and it's okay to just be you. And I think we're too scared growing up in this world to fit in. And whether it's hearing, it's seeing, it's performing, it's connecting people, you all have a superpower. Even if you seem like you don't have one. There are so many people that I have met along my life and my journey. And so many people I want to connect this network to. But I am fully aware that if it doesn't align, then it doesn't align, and that's perfectly fine. But I think the people who do see this and do feel some resonance with this, I hope, and I am so grateful for you. I am grateful that you are struggling, and it sounds so weird to say that because I was grateful when I was struggling. Because in the struggle and in the uncomfortable is when you grow. It is where you realize what you want and what you don't want. That confusion and that catastrophic moments of feeling, well, just not right. Or that you're second guessing everything yourself and you don't have that trust in yourself. That's where the gratitude needs to live. It needs to live amongst you, realizing that I'm struggling right now because I'm doing something that isn't in line with me, that I'm doing something that doesn't fit with me or my purpose. And instead of quieting it, instead of tucking it back in, and instead of putting it to the side and second guessing yourself, I am so grateful that you are going through it, and I am grateful because I know on the other end you're gonna come out and you're going to be on the other side filled with appreciation for the fact that you listen to yourself. It may not be today, it may not be tomorrow, and it may not even be this week or next month or next year, but that day that you finally start listening to that inner second guessing, that inner, is this enough? That everyone calls it imposter syndrome, but in truth, it's your anxiety. It is your insecurities, questioning yourself whether or not I'm going to fit in. It is that little 7, 8, 9, almost even 5-year-old in you on the playground, just wanting someone to play with. And so, recognize that your superpower isn't to be liked. It doesn't have to be. Your superpower is you. Just you. So host those events. Even if no one shows up, I want you to make that post. Even if no one likes it, I want you to reach out to that person that resonates with you, even if you think it won't get you further in life. Even if the only thing that comes from it is a good conversation. I want you to become that person, that adult that your youngest self would be proud. And yes, I'm getting all emotional. Because you know what? Emotions are beautiful. And with this process, it's going to be a roller coaster. And I want you guys all to see it firsthand. And this has been insanely long, and I'm going to cut it off in a little bit. But this will be on my YouTube and on the If Network's website and everything. But it's long-winded. But back to the text message I had sent and what started it all for today. I was expecting around 6 people to show up. But of course, most things have come up. I was a little bummed at first. But then I reminded myself that it's still an incredible idea. Recognizing that I was looking for validation from you, the person on the other side of this camera. When the reality is, the only person that I need validation from, or you need validation from, is the person that is on this side of the camera, or this side of the mirror, or this side of the idea. The person who has that feeling and that desire and that drive to go for it. It doesn't take a village to get validation. It just needs one. And I am blessed that I have so many people. But if you're struggling right now, and if it feels like you have no one, and if it feels like you are alone, and you are screaming out to the ocean that no one's coming back except your echo, that echo is still one person. Is that one person that's going to believe in you regardless. And you should. You don't want what you want for no reason. It was put in you for a reason. Whether you are a spiritual person, whether you are a religious person, no matter what you call it, that power, that drive was put there to do something with. And you can have 2 different options: to let it go and to just listen to what everyone else is doing. But I firmly believe that no matter who you are, what pay rate you're at, it doesn't matter. It doesn't. All that matters is your commitment to yourself and your commitment to your ideas and your passions. And being able to look yourself in the mirror and talk to that little younger version of yourself and show up without a crushing doubt that it's not okay. There are so many greats out there who were labeled as crazy, who were labeled as something less than they were. So many often people just put them to the side because they weren't being realistic. So often they were put to the side because they didn't fit the normal. They didn't fit in with everyone else. My life goal is not to fit in. Never. Never, not once, ever do I want to fit in. I want to be the cause for change. And I want you all listening to recognize that you too can be the cause for change. while I'm still going to be showing up as much as possible around the community, whether it be helping to, volunteer for any of the local events, the gardens, the community shows, the community events like fundraisers, or sharing things, or just going out and supporting those who mean the most to me and who are showing up for the community. I hope you are inspired to do the same. Whether it's liking this video, whether it's sharing it, whether it's inviting someone to the If Network, I want you to do what you feel is right, regardless of what you think the outcome will be, without second guessing yourself. I want you to start those businesses. I want you to reach out, even if you're scared about how someone's gonna act or what they might say. I want you to do something brave today, guys. I want you to be you. Unapologetically you. And you might struggle with that for a while, because so many people have lost themselves along the way. Lost themselves because of media. Lost themselves because they are chasing the dollar, or the chicken as I call it. Because money is nothing more than energy, and we're just all chasing energy, when the reality is the energy is inside of us and we don't have to go anywhere for it. I want you to know that you are enough. That you matter. That you are valued just the way you are. Whether you are a struggling parent who is crying in your laundry room because you just yelled at your kids for the 30th time because you don't know how to handle your emotions, because no one taught you how to regulate yourself. Or the entrepreneur that is standing at the desk and literally wanting to just throw the computer out the window because you're sick of it. You'd rather be home with your child. Or what about the community leader? Yes, even they struggle. And I see it. I feel it. And yes, this might end up being too woo-woo for some of you, but empathy is real. And I empathize so much with the community leaders. Being under the spotlight constantly, you probably have it worse. And you have something that you are dealing with that you can't get out. You are seeking approval just as much as we are. You are seeking approval just as much as the bagger lady at the store. You want to be not only liked but respected and able to get your voice and your message across. You struggle just as much as us everyday people. You struggle with trying to find the time to help your kids with homework, or read bedtime stories, or trying to solve the mental health crisis around your county. I see you. And you need to kind of reach out too. The mental health professionals, if you are watching this, you also, as much as it pains you and struggles you to second guess, stop. And too often, your emotions and your fears and your pain comes from a place of scarcity. The scarcity comes from the fear of not being liked and not being accepted, which many of us cover it by the device of not being able to afford stuff. Yes. Yet at the same time, that fear is put there because in order for us to grow as a society, we had to have fear to be rooted in tribal mentality. And the tribal mentality is that if you're not liked, you're not successful, because you won't have the backing of, well, the tribe. You won't have the backing to succeed, to survive the winters. And while many people debate whether or not this is relevant in psychology nowadays, it is. It shows up so often. And I see it, even when I had witnessed it with my children's therapist, as well as mine or anyone else. Like, I can feel the struggle. And it's easy enough to sit on the side and say, well, just go for what you want. When the reality is that you are stricken with fear of scarcity in your head. The insecurities that if you're not liked and you're not performing, then you're not going to get money. And if you don't have money, then you're afraid you're going to lose your house, or you're going to lose something. And I see it when it comes to the people I coach, the people I work with, and the people I speak to. And most of the time, I just want to reach out and just give you guys a big hug. Because you, for whatever reason, have lost the ability to see how absolutely incredible you are. Absolutely incredible. Your wisdom isn't limited by books or certifications. Your knowledge and your power and your voice to resonate with someone doesn't stem from your ability to fit into the crowd, but more so the ability to stand out and to speak at a different level that will resonate with someone who aligns with your purpose even more than you ever expected. So I'm going to wrap this up and try to keep it under an hour. But I see you. I hear you. And you are valid. I hope. I don't just hope, I know. This IF network is going to change lives. It may not be, Monroe County or 20,000 people, but it has already started to impact people and plant seeds of growth amongst so many. And I want to be able to continue this, whether it through courses, through teachings, through just even lives like this where I'm trying to empower people. You are out there and you are doing a great, great job. And though you might get teared and you might cry when things don't go your way, that's okay. Because I have cried so much, even since last night. But at the end of the crying, after the end of all that emotion and energy pouring out, I came out more dedicated and more clarified on what I want this to become. And I know that I'm not alone. And so for those who have been showing up resiliently for me, I am grateful for you. And I'm not only grateful from my point of view, I am grateful for you to show up and to recognize that we are building something that is going to go far and that will help many people out there. So I am making a call to action to anyone watching this. And if you've managed to sit through this, bless you for my ranting. But if you did, and this really strikes something in you, comment below. Send me a private message. I want to hear from you. I want to hear about your struggles. I want it to become normal that this is what happens in life. I want to break down that barrier of perfection that social media has created. I want you to see other people struggle too. And so, like I said, call to action. If you are willing to speak, and even if it's not getting on camera, but you are more than willing to just talk about the issues and the struggles that you have gone through, we can, keep your privacy. We can like blur your face out, or even just have it be an audio, or we're just focused on me. I want people to understand that you're out there and it doesn't have to be complicated, and that you have a superpower, and the superpower is you. Go have a great day and live in gratitude, guys. Like, I see you, I hear you, you're valid. Have a great day.